हरि हरि बोल। हरिराम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। What a pleasant surprise. I'm seeing you after Mother Krishnanandini left for the first time.
I know.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Shimala Prabhu, what's next?
Sing prayers.
The Shinga prayers? Okay. Should I leave?
Whatever you want. Usually have Nikila. You want to leave? No? No? Okay. I guess it's you. It's your show.
Not happy.
What's that? Mike? For Nikila. You're going to sing? I can. Yeah.
Okay. You think I need it?
Yeah.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Jala Jala
Earlier, my wife was fine, but now she's gotten a little shy. So we're happy to have with us our dear friend and mentor, His Grace Prem Vilas. Please greet him with a loud and enthusiastic Haribol! Vilas comes to us from the Columbus Yashra, where he's been serving Columbus Krishna House for probably as long as we've known each other. We met back in the early days of our spiritual life as bhaktas, and it's a friendship that is both near and dear to myself and my wife's heart. And we're very, very happy to have her here with us today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So happy and honored and privileged to be here. I was driving on 71 North, and I was hoping I'll get to see Purnamashi and her husband. I was hoping I'll get to see Shrimala and Punjari, and I was hoping I'll get to see Akhila and Neenan and Pradeep Prthu and his family, and so very happy all. And then I met some new friends today, Tom and Rose, and our old friend Dr. Praveen, who's sitting back there. I don't know if you know him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great soul.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Mahatma. For 2 years in Columbus, he was there. He came to Mangal Aarti every single day.
Wow.
He's also an astrologer. You know, he's very deep into astrology and Jyotish, the future telling. And Praveen, a lot of respect for him. So thank you all for being here. Hare Krishna. So I have two announcements to make, but I don't want to forget this, so I just want to make those announcements. First is that on Thursday, so 4 days from now, we'll be celebrating the birthday of Radhanath Swami, Vyas Puja celebration in the temple. So I just wanted to personally invite all of you. Program will start around 6:30 and it goes up to 9:30 until all the offerings are done. So if anybody can make it, we'll be very fortunate. Second thing I wanted to tell you that the good news is that our temple, we're building a temple in Columbus. The construction started in August. And the site work, the earthwork and utilities and all of that foundation work is almost 80% complete. And the building should start going up in February. And in 2025, hopefully our center will open. And we are on target to open our temple. It's a $12 million project with zero loan. Haribol, little louder. So yeah, we are very blessed and very fortunate. And so thank you for all your support. So 2025, at some point, I would like everyone to come. I know all of you came for the groundbreaking, which happened last year. And so thank you. So just those two announcements on my mind. And Mother Kamagiri sends her love. I told her I'm going to Cleveland. She was extremely happy. She gave me her blessings and she said, send my love to all the devotees there. So, and of course, I have to start by remembering the lotus feet of Mother Krishna Nandini. You know, she gave so many instructions. Every 2 or 3 years, she would write me a letter. It was her chastisement. It was very heavy, but it basically, I was actually looking at that letter this morning. Somehow, you know how things happen. I'm coming to Cleveland and I was looking at the letter and I was missing her so much. and my good, So anyway, her love. I know all of you have been a recipient of that love, and her love was, it was tough and it was soft and it was hard, and there was always that loving mother behind the chastisement she had given me. So I'm missing her. Um, anyways, we'll sing Jai Radha Madhava.
Sure.
So devotees do Jai Radha Madhava. I like to do this little bhajan called. Just before the class, they sing another song for 5 minutes, okay? If some of you are not familiar with this. So this is called a very simple bhajan. It's called Shri Krishna, Govinda, Hare Murari, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva, right? You probably heard, anybody have never heard this mantra? Okay, everybody has heard. Mopuravashi never heard this. So Shri Krishna, we know. Govinda, we know it's another name for Krishna. Hari, who takes away everything inauspicious. Hare Murari. Why is Krishna called Murari?
Please.
He plays his flute. He's also, there was a demon Krishna killed called Mura, M-U-R-A. Mura. And Ari means enemy. So Ravanari, Ram is also called Ravanari, enemy of Ravana. Mrigari, so Ari means enemy of. So enemy of Murari, Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Hey Nath. This Nath word is very interesting, it means refuge. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita at the end of 18th chapter, the final verse is, you should give up everything else and just surrender unto me. And I will give you all protection. Meaning we can put all our anxieties and fears and worries to Krishna. We may have our heart may be polluted with dirty things or many non-devotional things, or but Krishna says, you give it all to me. You just take refuge in me. And you surrender unto me. And surrender is not just a one-sided surrender. It's a double-sided surrender. Krishna says, I will surrender unto you. I'll take everything inauspicious. I will protect what you have, and I will preserve what you have, and I will carry what you lack. Ananyaschintayantu mam ye jana paripasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yoga shema. I'll protect you. Kshatriya shema. And vahami aham. Very, very deep story. I'll start with a little story. Mother Parvati, you may have heard this, but there was a devotee called Arjunacharya. He was writing a commentary on the Gita. And when he came to this verse, Vahami, the word Vahami, from which the Sanskrit word Vahan, from which the English word vehicle comes, he said, I will carry what you lack, Krishna says in Gita. So this devotee is writing this commentary in 12th century. And he thought that, well, Krishna is not necessarily going to carry what I lack. He may arrange it, maybe indirectly, maybe via, maybe indirectly, somehow or another. He may kind of, just make sure that I don't go all the way under. But he's not going to really carry what I lack. So he scratched the word Vahami and he changed it into Karomi. I will make sure it happens. So Arjunacharya, after that, after pondering over it for a long time, mulling over it, he changed the Bhagavad Gita. And then he went to collect some alms. That's how spiritually minded people, really spiritual minded people would maintain themselves until about 40 or 50 years ago. And even today, real spiritual minded people, they maintain themselves just by collecting alms. So he went to collect alms and his wife said, we have no firewood, we got no groceries, we got no spices, we got nothing at home. So, okay, it was kind of a while. He's going collecting. There's a knock on the door. And he comes. And before he comes, there's a knock on the door. So there's a knock on the door, and wife opens the door. And there are two very handsome boys, about 12 years of age. One is a blackish complexion, one has a little whitish, little fair complexion. They came and they said that our husband has sent you here with some alms for you. And she goes, okay, you can bring them inside. So they brought firewood on their shoulders, and they brought all the groceries, and they brought all the spices, and they brought the clarified butter, and they brought everything they needed for their home. It was a lot of stuff. And so the wife said, my husband said all of this. And they go, yeah. And then she said, okay, well, she was very surprised, pleasantly. She said, why don't you wait? I will cook. My husband will come. I'll feed him. I will feed you. And so they said, no, we have to go now. And so she asked, well, why do you have to go? She said, because your husband is very cruel. And if he sees us, he may even resort to beating us. So the wife couldn't believe. She said, my husband is a very gentle soul. Why would you say something like that? Why would you make an accusation like that? So they said, okay, if you don't believe, we have proof. They turned around and they showed their back. And there were marks of lashes on the back with blood trickling down. And the wife sort of passed away. She passed out. Right? What was this? And when she came back to her senses, the boys were gone. Sometime later, the husband came, sort of morose. He saw as he entered the house the aroma, the fresh aroma of cooking and all of this material. She said, "Who sent all this?" She said, these two boys came and they brought all this. And then when I asked them to stop and stay here, they said we have to leave because you mistreated them and you misbehaved with them. And so husband was very pensive and he asked, what did they look like? She gave the description. They were very handsome, 12 years old. They had broad chest, a deep navel, they had a thin waist. They were very handsome. So Arjuna Charya, he went back to his desk where he was writing the commentary. And he noticed that the word Karomi was scratched off. And with blood, it was written Vaham. So this word is He Nath. Nath means, Krishna says, Gati Bharta Prabhu Sakshi, Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit. I am the best well-wishing friend. I am the super soul in your heart. I am your refuge. I am the goal. I am the master. I am the sustainer. I am the maintainer, and I am the witness of everything. So, this idea of surrender, when Krishna says that I will surrender unto you. And you should not worry. There should be no anxiety, no fear, none of that in bhakti, in the heart of a devotee. And one should have full faith that Krishna is my protector. And so, Hey Nath, Narayana. What does Narayan means? Can anybody please tell? And this is just for discussion's sake so that everybody knows. What does Narayan means? The word Narayan comes from two words. Nara.
Nara
plus Ayana. You have heard this word Ramayana, right? So Ayana means two things. Ayana can means narration of or shelter of. Narayan, Lord, who's actually the shelter of everybody. He Nath Narayana, Vasudeva. And what does Vasudeva mean? It's another name for Krishna term, Vasudeva. What does Vasudeva means? The son of Vasudeva, right? So Shimala Prabhu said, Vasudeva and Vasudeva. In Sanskrit, father is always addressed with the small a and son with the long a. So Vasudev's son would be Vasudev. Nabhag's son would be Nabhag, like that. But Vasudev also means Vasu means abode, right? The word Vastu comes from that, right? Vas means abode, and Deva means the 330 million devatas, an abode of everything, an abode of all of the devas is Vasu Deva. So, hey Krishna, so we'll sing for 5 minutes, then we'll do a little talk. Pastime of Prthu Maharaj. From fourth canto of Bhagavatam, story of Vasudeva, story of Prthu Maharaj. And Bhagavatam says if you read this pastime 3 times, you will attain pure devotional service. And you will attain Krishna's lotus feet immediately by reading this pastime 3 times. So I was reading it, so I thought I'll share some pastime. I got a little handout also, if you can just pass it. So we'll do the simple melody. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. So this, thank you all. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्तस्य ज्ञानविनाशाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुताप्तकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्णा पादान सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So in Srimad Bhagavatam, this episode of there is a great hero of Bhagavatam, just like Prahlad Maharaj. There is a great hero called Dhruva Maharaj, right? The pole star. He lives and governs the pole star, Dhruva. In Sanskrit, pole star is called the Dhruva star. So pole star, and according to Vedic cosmology, the pole star is one which tethers the whole cosmic universe. So we comes to the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, where there is this conversation between this great personality. His name is Vidura. Yeah, and Vidura is another hero of Bhagavatam. When the war breaks out between the Kauravas and Pandavas, Vidura doesn't really want to participate in the war. He gives good advice to Dhritarashtra. He says, "Do not fight. Give this half the kingdom back to Pandavas. It's their rightful claim, right?" But Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra, the evil king, he says, "This low life vermin, we should cane him until he's left with only flesh on his bones." So Vidura, he exemplifies the behavior of a devotee, of a God conscious person. He doesn't retaliate, he simply leaves the kingdom. Just like he gives up all his home and his kingdom, just like it was a piece of stew. And he goes to the forest to meditate. Jagadishwar Prabhu was saying how he was in Vrindavan, he was so happy. Devotee is not attached to anything in this world. He's attached to Krishna. He's attached to solitude. Vivikta desha sevatvam aratir jana samsadi. Krishna says in 13th chapter, text 10. He says the sign of spiritual knowledge is to be living in solitude, or at least an internal solitude. And to live in holy places and to live where there is, there's like 100,000 people getting together. So Vidura goes to the forest, and he goes to the forest and he meets people of knowledge. The purpose of going to the forest or going to hills is to meditate, is to study, is to deeply absorb oneself in the pastimes of Krishna, and to meet people there, of a similar taste of knowledge and devotion to Bhagavan. So Vidura comes against Uddhava. He meets this person. And this is the entire pastime of the third and the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, the story. And he comes to Uddhava, and Uddhava is much junior, much younger to Vidura. And he tells Uddhava that, Krishna has asked you. Krishna shared many confidential things with Uddhava before he left. And he said, please enlighten me. Please talk to me. Tell me, what should I do? Now, imagine, this is the great, great personality, right? He's the uncle of Pandavas. He's a dear associate of Krishna. When Krishna goes, in the first time Krishna goes to, this Mathura, he goes to the house of Vidura, right? He has an invitation from many places, but he goes to the house of Vidura, and he's eating the banana peels, offered with love, offered with faith by his wife, right? So Vidura goes and he does not say, I know. I'll tell you one of the biggest, those who have been practicing bhakti for many years, the biggest pitfall is, I have already read. I have already read Bhagavatam, I already know. I already know the Gita, I already know the Krishna book, I have already read, I have already heard, so why do I need to read it again? And why do I really need to go and listen from somebody who's like, junior to me, right? I already know, maybe I'll just stay at home. I don't need to come in the association of devotees. This is the biggest pitfall, because I know the pastime. But here's the thing, there are two things to that. Just like a loving mother, whether her child is saying the ABCD for the 100th time, or whether he's defending his thesis in PhD or doing something big, the loving mother takes equal pleasure, equal pride out of that. Similarly, a loving devotee, whether it's the ABCD of Gita, whether it's Krishna's childhood pastimes, or whether it's the most complicated, complex philosophy, whether it's spoken by somebody who has come to the temple the first time, or by its, I will only hear from a guru. I will only hear from somebody who's very realized, right? Right? Meaning sometimes, this is kind of mentality comes. So a loving devotee derives equal pleasure, and that's the test of love. That is the test of love. He's equally eager and enthusiastic to hear Krishna Leela the 100th time, the same pastime, the same story. That is the sign of love. And Prabhupada says repeatedly, read my books. He's himself reading his books every day. Prabhupada will sit down with devotees and said, let's read Krishna book. This is the symptom of love. This is a symptom of somebody who has a spiritual consciousness. Otherwise, the tendency comes as, I already know this. Maybe I should just go and sit home. Now, when you sit home, what you're going to do? You're going to watch football. If you're not going to read Bhagavatam, you're going to spend 6 hours on Facebook and YouTube and watch football. That's reality. All at the same time. Right? So Vidura, he humbles himself. He's very eager to hear from somebody Mother Parvati ki
Jai.
jai. So he's very eager to hear. And Uddhava, by definition, by all definition, by age, by seniority, by realization, much junior. But Uddhava, this younger person, he sends Vidura to Maitreya. He says, no, 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 I'm not really qualified to speak to you. You please go and you please bless me. And you please, Uddhava is also lamenting. He's also in separation and he's also doing his own pilgrimage. So in bhakti, one of the things is, Ramesh, we have to take pilgrimage. We have to take time from our life, right? And take pilgrimage. It could be a very internal pilgrimage to a nearby place, a holy place, or it could be a bigger pilgrimage of solitude and reading and chanting and meditation, and to spend some time with men of knowledge. Yes? So that's important. So Uddhava is doing his own pilgrimage. He very respectfully tells Vidura, please go to Maitreya. And now this conversation, Vidura finds Maitreya. And Maitreya was given a special message by Krishna. He says, I'm going to give you the special message. Once Vidura comes to you, you tell him this pastime, which I'm going to narrate, which forms the crux of the third and the fourth canto. And if you see the benefits of reading this and meditating on this, it's immense. So in this pastime, Dhruv Maharaja's story come, his entire life, kings, blah, 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 blah. And then after Dhruv Maharaj leaves for the spiritual world, by the way, in Srimad Bhagavatam, for 38 devotees, Krishna personally comes on his Garuda, or he brings his chariot, and in front of everybody, the devotee goes to the spiritual world in full vision of everybody. 38 people, 38 times. Whether it's Dhruva or Prahlad or Ajamil or anybody, or Bhishma, there are stories. Actually, Bhagavatam is a story of faith. It's a story of revelation. It says, Krishna says, 38 times I will come. And in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says a devotee does not have to worry about auspicious, inauspicious, astrological. It may be helpful, but he doesn't have to worry about it. I will personally come on Garuda and I will take my devotee in whatever state of consciousness he is in. So Vidura reaches Maitreya and Maitreya tell him this pastime, and then Bhagavatam describes the genealogy. And after Dhruva leaves, there is a king called King Anga, and Anga leaves, and Anga has a son called Vena, King Vena. And this Vena is a very cruel sort of a king, big rascal. So his priest go to him and he says, hey, look here, what you're doing is not good. A king is meant to be like this. A king is meant to be a representative of God. A king is meant to take care of his people. So you should start worshiping God and you should start behaving according to godly principles. So you know what Vena says? Vena says, you just said king is the representative of God. So hell, I am God. And all of the devatas and all the demigods and the cosmic universe, they all live in my body. And you are unnecessarily worshiping God, you should worship me. So the saints said, Brahmanas and the saints and saintly people, they had power. They had power. Mystic power. Devotees have power, right? So they said, let's to hell with this. So they burned Vena to death. Enough is enough. First, they tolerated his nonsense. Then they gave him good counsel directly good counsel. They say, whatever you're doing is nonsense. And he says, no, you should worship me instead. You are foolish. So Brahmanas burn Vena to char him to death. Now what to do now? Now there's no king. You need a king, right? And so they churn the body of Vena. They churn it. And from that body, because Vena was so sinful, the first personality to come out of his body was sin personified, called Bahuka. Anyway, no names are not important. We'll come to the morale. So Bahuka comes and Bahuka, the Brahmana said, Bahuka ji, You're very nice. Why don't you just go to the forest and live in the forest? Okay. He's not really fit to be the king. That's the sin of Vena, sin from his body coming out. So then they churn the body again. And from that churning, after the sin had been purged, everybody is ultimately a part and parcel of God. So from Vena's body comes two personalities. One is Prthu, the king who's the hero of our talk today, and Archi. So Prthu is actually an incarnation of Bhagavan, incarnation of God. And his wife, Archi, she's incarnation of Lakshmi. Prthu and Archi. They are Narayan and Lakshmi. Now, Prthu is actually called the avatar or descent of God, but Shakti Avesha. Shakti means any personality who has been infused with the power of God is called a Shakti Avesh avatar. So, for in our tradition, we believe like personalities like Jesus or Muhammad or great acharyas, like they are Srila Prabhupada, great acharyas, great teachers. They are Shakti Avesh avatar or a righteous leader, a righteous king. Like we hear about the kings in the bygone ages in the Old Testament also. So like that, they are infused with the potency of God. So now Prthu Maharaj comes, and Prthu Maharaj comes and immediately takes charge. Prthu Maharaj institutes three principles. This is one of the main features of our talk today. To attain peace and prosperity in a society, whether it's an individual, whether it's a family, whether it's a small community of 5 or 10 families, or it may be a society or kingdom or whatever it is. Prthu Maharaj says three things should happen. Three principles should be followed by everybody. First principle, one should only accept for oneself what is one's quota, what is one's need, and one should give the rest to the poor and the needy, or for service of dharma, service of Krishna. So this is the first principle. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincham jagatam jagat tena tyatvena bhunjita ma gridha. Ma means no. Gridha means to grahan. Kasya svidhanam. One should not take others' property. This is the first principle. All of the problems of social evil is because of this unequal distribution of resources and wealth. He said one should live a simple life. A devotee should only accept what is necessary in food, in clothing, in resources. Now, Krishna may give you something. Krishna may, according to your karma, Krishna may give you something. But you should only accept for yourself what is your need. And give everything away to those who need it. In a spirit of knowing that everything belongs to God. He's the only proprietor. This is the purpose of yajna. Yajna in Bhagavad Gita means activities which are done for the welfare of others. Very simple. Yajna. The entire purpose of yajna means an activity, an action, an intent which is for the welfare of others. Krishna says, Bhoktaram yaga tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. I am the enjoyer of all yajna. I am the bhokta. Ram. I am the pleasure principle, which is the pleasure from yajna should be given to Krishna. All austerity, all tapasya, God is the enjoyer. This festival season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's not meant to be a consumer orgy. If you need something, you go and buy something. If you buy something, you get rid of 3 other things from your house first. It's not a consumer orgy. It's a season of giving. It's a season of giving. Give, serve, sacrifice. Do yajna, do tapasya. Knowing that ultimately this is for the pleasure of Bhagavan. This is for the pleasure of God. First principle, Prthu Maharaj, he made sure that people accepted only what they needed. Second principle, this is even deeper. Prthu Maharaj insisted and ensured that sense every jiva will only should only perform sense gratification to what he absolutely needs. This is the definition of pure devotion according to Rupa Goswami. Sarvapadhir vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. The consciousness of a devotee, of a righteous person is, I will only gratify my senses to the extent it pleases the senses of Krishna. You follow this? I will gratify my senses by pleasing the senses of Krishna and no more. And Rupa Goswami explains, the Acharyas explains, all your senses and your needs and everything material and spiritual will be satisfied by this principle. By this one principle, all the material and spiritual needs will be fulfilled. Happiness will come, peace will come, joy will come. All anxiety, fear, lamentation will go away and you will come to the level of Brahman. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Na sochati, you will never hanker, na kankshati, you will never desire anything. Samha sarveshu bhuteshu, you will attain equanimity. In bhakti, there is pleasure and pain, just like anybody else. But a devotee should strive for equanimity. Because you chase pleasure, you avoid pain, you will have to take another birth. Senses are chasing pleasure. I'm going to get pleasure. We're trying to avoid pain. No, this is too austere. I will not do it. You have to take another birth. By chasing pleasure and pain, you take another birth. By chasing equanimity, you get liberation. Right, Meena? So Prthu Maharaj insisted that in his kingdom, by his own example, that sense gratification would be only what is a byproduct of gratifying the senses of Govinda. Govinda means one who pleases the senses. That's the second principle of peace and prosperity. On an individual level and a society level. The third, Prthu Maharaj ensured, not like the kings of today, Prthu Maharaj ensured that everybody has to engage in yajna, in sacrifice, Sankirtan yajna. Sankirtan yajna means unmotivated and uninterrupted. Unmotivated and uninterrupted glorification of God. Wealth should be distributed equally. Number two, senses should be gratified according to their need. And third, one has to engage in Sankirtan Yajna. He himself engaged in Yajna. And he made sure that his praja was engaged in Yajna. Sure, he did not live in Kali Yuga. So Prthu Maharaj is famous for his 100 horse sacrifices, right? And after committing 99, he performed this huge sacrifice. 100 Ashwamedh Yajna. We hear kings like Dasharatha doing one Yajna. He's doing 100 Yajnas. Yajna after Yajna after Yajna. Srila Prabhupada explains in Bhagavatam. Yajna means japa, kirtan, distribution of Prabhupada's books, wholesale, and distribution of Krishna's prasadam. Japa, kirtan, whether we come together, we go out, we go to a yoga studio, we go here and there, kirtan with families, mass distribution of literature, sankirtan, and anybody can do it. You can get some small books and give it to everybody you know. You can have some small books and give it to everybody you know. You don't even have to say anything. You said, this is just for you. Most people accept it. I have never had anybody who refused. In most cases, people come back and say, you know what, 10 years ago you gave me a book. Do you remember me? I met you at a grocery store. 15 years ago you gave me a book. And this Harinam Sankirtan, this is what yajna means. Prabhupada says one should chant 24 hours a day. 16 rounds is just to start with. Says chant 24 hours a day. Repeatedly he says that. If you read this pastime carefully, Prabhupada writes 10 times that one should chant all the time. Of course, when we are doing our material duties, whatever it is. So Prthu Maharaj insisted, and this was his policy, this was his state policy. Prthu Maharaj lived an exemplary life. The people were starving. Prthu Maharaj brought an incredible work ethic. Incredible work ethic. A leader has to lead by example. He traveled throughout the surface of the globe, making fertile ground for crops to grow and for rain to happen, and making sure everything is in order. This described in chapter how hard he worked for his people. A leader has to lead by example, have to bring about an incredible ethic of leadership, of example. And Prthu Maharaj made this word into heaven by these three main processes. Prthu Maharaj lived an exemplary life, and at the end, when Prthu Maharaj's children had grown up, that's another point. Human life is not meant to be attached to matter till you die. Human life means at some point I will take detachment from matter. When there is time, there's a time for everything. And Prthu Maharaj went to the forest and ate very frugally, but 24 hours a day his consciousness was on Krishna. And his wife followed him. And eventually he gave up his body. Human life is meant for progressive detachment. Progress. But Praveen, please remember, not until the time of death, When the warning comes, when the warning is there, bus. Whether it was Vidura, whether it was Pandavas, whether it was even Dhritarashtra, it was Vidura who came back and told Dhritarashtra, you dog, you are living on the remnants of people whom you cheated. And you are feeling yourself to be very happy. So Dhritarashtra, the power of the words of a devotee, right? The power of the words of a devotee. Dhritarashtra left, went to Himalayas, performed austerity, and his body eventually burned to death. And the Atma came out from the crown of his head and achieved the higher destination. So Prthu Maharaj and Archi eventually went to the forest and performed tapasya, intense austerity, penance, and achieved, the lotus feet of Krishna. Now, Prthu Maharaj, in his commentary on Bhagavatam, he talks about pure bhakti, shuddha bhakti, right? We talked about the two definitions of bhakti. Anya bilashita shunyam, having no other desire just to please Krishna. One may do many things, but one's desire should be only to please Krishna. Jnana karma adi anavritam. It should not be overcoated by jnana and karma. Anukulina Krishna anushilanam. Anukul, it should be favorable. How do I know my bhakti is favorable? Devotees will be pleased with you. They'll tell you. If you are having some difficulty with devotees, you should know that maybe this is not anukul. Anukulina Krishna anushilanam. Anushilanam means to follow the path which has been laid out by the acharyas. Bhaktir Uttama. And Sarvapadhir Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvina Nirmanam. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur compiled this beautiful sort of, just a little sort of an exercise, a little summary of what keeps us away from pure devotional service. The first step is Shraddha, right? Shraddha, faith. Now, this is very important. The root of pure devotional service is pure Shraddha. The root of karma is pious activity. How we take birth, what features we get, how much opulence we get depends upon how many pious activities we have done in our previous incarnations and in this incarnation. But the root of pure devotional service is pure devotional shraddha, which comes from service to pure devotees in some lifetime. Those are two different things. A beggar can be a pure devotee, an animal can be a pure devotee. He may not have any bells and whistles, no bells and whistles, but he has done bhakti. Because he has served a pure devotee, he will become a pure devotee. Bhakti Siddhanta statement, very revolutionary statement. A neophyte devotee ringing a temple bell is better than somebody who opens 100 hospitals. Now imagine this Cleveland Clinic. Imagine those walls, $1 million donations, $10 million, $100 million donations. Bhakti Siddhanta is saying that a person ringing a bell in a temple is better than that person. You know why? It's not that he's better in a karmic situation. No, he's not better. He may be low born, he may be sinful, he may be fallen, he may be degraded. But the person who gives $100 million to Cleveland Clinic may not have faith that there is a God. Right, Purnamashi? He may not have faith. And a person who's ringing the temple bell may have pure devotional shraddha. He may have the first step. So in that ladder, he's better. You right, Shimala? In that ladder, he's better. He's closer to Bhagavan. He's closer to God. And if you look at it, if you really look at it, all the billionaires in the world, you heard of Bill Epstein? Bill Epstein? No, you didn't heard of Bill Epstein. You heard of Bill Gates? You heard of Clinton? This was, has anybody heard of Bill Epstein? You have heard of Bill Epstein, right? The guy was a pedophile, billionaire pedophile. He has a whole island in US Virgin Islands where he would invite the King of England, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Lex Wexner, all of these people. And they had a Lolita Island, basically. They were basically Nalakuvera and Manigriva. Now, Nalakuvera and Manigriva, this whole pastime passed away. What was their qualification to get Krishna's mercy? Can anybody tell me? The curse and the blessing of Narad Muni together. They did not do any devotional service. They did not do. There is no record. I researched this. I asked many Shastric people. Yeah, it looked like they got it very easy, So the answer was that they got the blessings. Narada saw them, say how degraded these people are. If you think about it, none of us had the qualification. But because Srila Prabhupada came to the West, and because he traveled this land, and because he stepped foot on planet Earth, and he said, these people are so degraded, give them Bhakti Krishna. Let them just do some, read Bhagavatam, chant Hare Krishna, do some Kirtan, but you give them Bhakti, you deliver them. I mean, we are all worse than Nalakuvara and Manigriva. They at least had a high parentage. You please understand this. The grace is already there. Prabhupada made it easy for next 427,000 years for the reprobates of Kali Yuga. Said, Krishna, Prabhupada said, you just hold on to my dhoti. I'll plead your case to Krishna. I'll plead your case. Just take this little thing. Do just little tapasya. We're not expected to do too much. Do a little tapasya. Do little. People like to give something. Give my books. People like to give prasad. Give prasad. Give this holy name to others. Chant Hare Krishna. I will deliver you. Krishna was not obligated to give anything to Nala, Kubera and Manigriva, and Nala, Kubera and Manigriva did not do anything to deserve Krishna's mercy. Nothing they did to deserve Krishna's mercy. And because they were in Dwapar Yuga, lifespan was 1,000 years, 100 years of that you stay in Braj. Just stay in Braj. 10% of their life, right? 10%. Prabhupada explains, first 20 years of your life, you are unconscious. What does a 12-year-old kid knows? Last 10, 5, 10, 15 years, you become, your body cannot do anything. Middle 20 years, 20 to 40, the sex desire is so strong, you can't do anything. So you have a little bit of life left in between. Little bit of life. Give it to Krishna. That's it. Little bit of life is left. Nala, Kubera, Manigriva gave 10% of their life performing tapasya. We have probably about 20-25% of the life. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, Shraddha leads to Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha leads to Bhajana Kriya, chanting and association, service and association. Then said, there are certain anarthas in the heart, certain unwanted things. Now Krishna says, you take shelter of me. You surrender unto me, I'll take care of it. Take refuge in Krishna. He says, there is offenses, there's weakness of heart, there is this thirst for material things, thirst for material comforts, thirst for things which are not related to Krishna, and some, this ignorance of who I am. Tattva Vibhrama. So Tattva Vibhrama, Hridaya Daurbalyam Aparadham. And you can read this, it may be helpful. So Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that everything can go through the vigorous performance of Harinam Sankirtan. Vigorous, everything can be overcome by vigorous chanting of the holy name. Yeah. So this is kind of the message for today. Let's see what we have a few minutes for some discussion, some questions, if anybody feels inspired. Otherwise, it's about 4. We can stop here. That's what I was wanted to share today. So, Dr. Praveen Kumarji, anything, any questions? Anything would anybody like to share? Please, if you say something, I'll feel better. Prabhupada went to the house of Vilas. Nobody asked any question. Nobody said anything. He told Giriraj Maharaj told me. If they don't say something, that means they didn't like your talk. Prabhupada went to the house of Vilas and he told them you should give all your wealth to Krishna. He basically said as it is, They make a lot of temples. Vishnu temples, Sitaram temples. For sure, Satyalok and Brahmalok is there, But unless they receive the mercy of a pure devotee, they're not going back to God. Naveen, what do you think? Was it okay? Anything you liked in the talk?
Thank you for visiting. Actually, it's very nice. I have one question. As you mentioned about Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, like they received the mercy just like that. They did not deserve it.
Yeah.
And on the other side, we are talking about people who are doing philanthropic work. They would not get mercy like they received. So in Kali Yuga, as it is explained many times, that by default, we do not have the necessary intelligence to progress on our own. So what is it that enables one to receive mercy?
Mercy is already there. Prabhupada's mercy is on all of us. And our spiritual masters' mercy is on us. Yes, Naveen? So Naveen, rest assured, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy of the Acharyas, mercy of Srila Prabhupada, mercy of our Guru Parampara, mercy of devotees, well-wishing and blessings and mercy of devotees is there. Now we have to have faith in that. That by studying Bhagavatam, by chanting the holy name, by performing yajna, sankirtan yajna, by performing penance and austerity, I will get everything I need. I will get happiness. I don't have to look for happiness other way. If I purify my heart through this process, ultimately I will get everything I need to materially sustain myself, and everything I need to go back home to get the highest eternal destination, which is not available to anybody. I will get what I need materially to survive and to sustain and to preach Krishna consciousness, and I will get everything desirable in this world. The only lack is I'm not taking refuge in Krishna. I'm not following Sarva Dharmam Parityagya Mam Ekam Sharanam. So, Naveen, right? Yes. Our qualification does not matter. Our intelligence does not matter. Our intelligence is to very, very tightly hold on to the rope of mercy which has been given to us and to follow that very, very nicely. Prabhupada has given a very simple austerity. Nal Kumera Manigriva had to stay at trees for 100 years, which was 10% of their life, right? In Dwapar Yuga, people live for 1,000 years. In Treta, 10,000 years. In Satyuga, 100,000 years. In Kali Yuga, we live for 100 years. We are seeing with our own eyes, in a very, very short period of time, the Goloka train is departing for many people, triumphantly entering Goloka Vrindavan. Triumphantly. Right, Navi? We have examples here in Cleveland, Ohio. Bhakti Tirtha Swami came from here, Mother Krishna Nandini came from here. So many great devotees have come from this town. I don't even know. And Prabhu, what was the name of devotee, lung cancer, who passed away in 2 weeks? The most humble person I ever met? Jatayu. Jatayu went home back to God. I have never seen a more humble person than that. Shimala, have you seen one? Have you seen a person more fixed up than Jatayu in Bhakti Yoga?
Not my entire life.
Anukulya sa sankalpa, pratikulya sa varjanam, rakshita vishwaso, karpana. This symptom of surrender, to be meek and humble. Jatayu was meek and humble. Jatayu Prabhu would come and bring all the devotees on Gora Purnima to Columbus. I didn't even knew who he was. I had no idea. I was a new bhakta, probably a year-old Beenan. And he was behaving, like a servant to all. He was doing dishes, he was cleaning the pots, he was washing this floor. I said, Prabhu, who are you? I found out he's been practicing yoga for 30 years. There was no suffering, a little bit, last 1 week, right, of his life.
Yeah, it was so fast.
Not even that.
Yeah.
Not even that. So many great devotees have come from Cleveland. Mother Kamagiri, started her journey here. What an example. I don't know if you know Mother Kamagiri. Please take association of her. She's a pure devotee. No doubt about it, She's now about 70 years old, For 50 years, for 20 years, I saw her cooking for 100, 150, 200 people, with bad knees. And, she wouldn't get a knee replacement. She would not. It took me 5 years to convince her to take her blood pressure meds. She would not do it. She wouldn't even go to a doctor. She said, my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, will take me home. Anyway, Jagadishwar Prabhu, please, what will you say?
I'd like to add more. In addition, that Naveen Prabhu said about mercy, and I realized that because I always pray for mercy, which is a blessing from Krishna, and I come to a point where I discover that I was praying wrongly. Because I was asking Krishna for mercy, and myself suddenly it dawns on me that mercy is always there, and it's me. It's my fault because through the years being a conditioned soul, had put a lot of dust and trash on your Paramatma. So then, it's not that your guru has to teach you anything. It's already there. We just have, like you said, we need to cleanse our heart, so that we can engage in mercy. I always pray for engagement. While in Brindavan, I was sitting at the floor, and I was praying for mercy. Suddenly it dawns on me what I've just said. Mercy is a blessing of Krishna, and it's always there. It's up to us to look inside. So, and Krishna's blessing is not material; it's spiritual. There is a tendency for people with because Maya body or condition soul has a residual effect to anyone. But however, Prabhupada had placed, has given us, has opened it up to us. Like the four regulated principle, it doesn't seem to be, it's actually deep, and Mahamantra. This basic foundation that Prabhupada gave us is something to expand our consciousness so we can see better, you know, and be able to distinguish between, for example, non-devotee and devotee, the Madhyama Adhikari. But the point is that uh, it's mercy, blessing of mercy is always there, you know, and I have to keep that in mind, you know, even chanting, without offense, these are not an easy, wheezy stuff that we can do because I've experienced this many years, of chanting. Uh, and then while chanting, we're hearing it. Sometimes we don't hear it because our thoughts goes, oh boy, I got to do this. I got to do that, you know. And that happens to anyone. It can happen to anyone, you know. However, there's a point where we can actually achieve a goal, you know, especially a goal is not set without timetable and commitment and full surrender without reservation, like you said, without reservation, without expecting anything, you know. So that's it. Thank you very much for allowing me to.
Thank you, Jagadishwar Prabhu. Tom, I'd like to hear from you. Anything you want to say, or some reflection on today's discussion?
I just found it very interesting that you were on the fourth canto, because that's what I'm reading right now. So this is really a great timing for me. This is a real enlightening.
The entire fourth canto is Prthu Maharaj. If you want to keep this little flyer, you can keep this page. You can keep it. It's very enlightening to kind of do a reality check sometimes. Krishna, Jagadishwar Prabhu, Krishna wants to surrender to us. Krishna says, I want to become the devotee of my devotee. I want to surrender to you. So surrender goes both ways. A little test is Krishna also does not like to be abused. So it's just a little test, but he wants to surrender. He wants to become, Prabhupada says, we don't want to become God. We would rather be in a position where God is, God is, I don't want to say it like that, but Krishna takes pleasure in serving us. Yeah. He takes pleasure in surrendering to his devotee. This is the whole essence of Radha Krishna Leela, right? The entire essence of Radha Krishna Leela. Krishna was subservient to the desire of Narada. Krishna is subservient to the resident of Vrindavan. He's subservient. He's surrendered to everybody. He's a person. He's a friend. He's a well-wisher. And he says, just come to me. I am the refuge. So I think it's another manifestation of kind of this ego. Oh, I'm not good enough, and I'm not this or I'm that. Anyway, we have to just kind of forget all that and just focus our attention on the present moment and presently what I can do to bring myself closer to Krishna. What can I do? Can I take an inventory and can I maybe cut out the fluff and be a little bit more Krishna conscious than I am today, right? So that could be the journey of 1,000 miles. Start with the first step, right? They say. Okay. Meenan Prabhu, any reflection from you?
I know you have said many things, but I was reflecting on the Sankirtan Yagna and how the way you said it in a practical way, like you got more liberation. So I was meditating, like this is a month of marathon and how we can do that more. So that's like a good reminder. I just wanted to announce after your class that if anyone is inspired by you, that maybe I have a set of Bhagavatam that someone wants to start. Let's never get started.
Anybody here may not have a set of Srimad Bhagavatam? By a show of hand. Naveen, would you like to take a set of Srimad Bhagavatam to your home?
I'm still on Bhagavad Gita.
Are you still doing other books? Okay. It's a nice holiday season. Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. So please see, Prabhu, it's a nice thing. Somebody else raise their hand. Prabhu, would you like a set of Bhagavatam? Starting out, no problem. Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna. Mataji is there. I would like to sponsor a set of Bhagavatam for Mataji in the back. I would like to sponsor a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Would you like a set of Bhagavatam? Haribol. So like that, so Prabhupada said when there is books, when there's prasadam and there's kirtan, there is life. Right, Purnamashi? Right? So life is books, prasadam, kirtan. This is an incredible, they call it the 1-2 punch. We got a 1-2-3 punch, right? Knockout punch, right, Shimala? So we got to focus on books, prasadam, and kirtan. Of course, there are a lot, I know there is a lot more to life, right? But also we should really pray and meditate. How can this be? How can this be? Books, prasadam, kirtan. Books, prasadam, kirtan. Let's say everybody together, our mantra. Books, prasadam, kirtan. Books, prasadam, kirtan. Books, prasadam, kirtan. Books, prasadam, kirtan. So books, prasadam, kirtan. This is the method. So this is our Sankirtan Yagya. Okay. Purnamashi, one reflection from you. I'm glad you raised your hand.
I just wanted to say, Prabhu, thank you so much. I think we all here can feel like, when you speak so clearly and give us such inspiration to just do more each day, to be more devotional. And I just feel like I just want to go home, and I feel like I have cut through the path here, and thank you so much. It's just so I'm so appreciative of your service here today. Thank you.
Purnamashi, I am so grateful. Well, thank you so much for kind words. But you and Madhavananda are my heroes. You should always remember that. You're my heroes. Your gentle nature and your sweet personality is very endearing to everybody who meets you. And I truly believe that whoever will meet you will benefit in their life. Anybody, Kunjari, any thoughts?
I was actually thinking that I'm impressed that you can remember everyone's name after so much time, because you come and, you know what I mean, you're in Columbus and then you come here and you remember who everyone is, and so I think that's pretty impressive, but it's a testament to your intelligence for sure. So, but it makes it very personable as well. So we feel like, you come here, you're home, you're in Columbus, you're home. And so, yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming all this way to inspire us.
Kunjari, thank you so much. Yeah, I tell the devotees in Columbus that you're not going to get much out of me except for my smile, and I may remember your name. and you should give all your money to me. But I don't say it like that. It's not exactly like that.
And also, you're speaking in Athens this week, or is it?
Yeah,
It's this, what is it, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah, so you're making, you're doing so much service, yeah.
3 years ago, by Malati Prabhu's grace, by the grace of Her Grace Malati Prabhu, from the dust of her lotus feet, a small, very small center on Ohio University. Our center came about, it's paid off, it's bought and paid for, right? Anybody? So anyway, it's on campus. We are doing programs regularly, multiple programs, Book Prashadam Kirtan. We have a Tuesday program in Athens University. I would open invitation to anybody who would like to join in Athens on a Tuesday evening. We start at 6. We also do Prashadam distribution on campus once a week. And we have 2 Bhagavad Gita special other programs in addition to Tuesday program there. And then whenever there are festivals, we do Kirtan there. Like, for 300, 400, 500 people, we are invited 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So this has been going on for 3 years. And we are very, very grateful to Srila Prabhupada and Malati Prabhu.
Please bless us that we can also have that kind of success.
You have more than that. We have a small group of devotees now. It's all local people. A small group of devotees who get together. Then we get new students, and then they graduate, and then they move on like that. So our Athens program is going well. We're also doing Kirtan once a month at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. And we have been doing it for 2 years now, and we are getting about 25 to 30 local students from the campus. We have a Bhakti Yoga club, and once a month we go and we do Kirtan. So it's been an amazing, amazing blessing from Prabhupada and Mother Malati that we have been able to do something in Miami University. It's an Ivy League school. It used to be an Ivy League school, the first university, first Ivy League in the United States, by the way. Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. We got tremendous reception there, and local people, not only just students, professors, teachers, local people also join us. So we do Thanksgiving anyway. So yeah, but Krishna's mercy, and I hope that you will continue to bless us and our efforts in Columbus. And many devotees have done a lot for Shishinath and Akbar. I'm very grateful to all of you, especially Shimala Prabhu. He stayed there for a year, 2 years almost.
Well, I grew up there and then moved here and then moved back for like a year and came back.
Well, we moved back for 3 months.
Yeah, it was like, well, I was there for a long time.
Long.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Pati Pawan Prabhu and his family and devotees and Dr. Saab there and Dr. Praveen there in the back. Thank you all very much. Well, should we conclude here then? Okay, devotees. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Mahaprasade Govinde.
Mahaprasade Govinde.
Namo Brahmani Vaishnave. Swalpa Punyavatam Rajan. Vishwasanai Vajayate. Sharira Siddhadal.
Prabhu ki. Jai. Go.